Texas is building some of the largest and most ambitious infrastructure projects in the nation right now. From reinventing airport expansions to billions being poured into skyscrapers, these megaprojects are transforming how millions of people live and move across the state. In this video, we explore the biggest Texas megaprojects under construction in 2026 and reveal how they will redefine the future of the Lone Star State. Rising in the heart of downtown Austin, the Waterline Tower is set to redefine the city's skyline. At 1,022 feet, this 74-story super tall will become the tallest building in Texas upon completion, surpassing even Houston's JP Morgan Chase Tower. Designed by the renowned architecture firm Kohn Pedersen Fox, Waterline combines a sharp glass facade with a tapered, asymmetrical form that reflects the modern urban identity of Austin. Construction on Waterline began in 2022, and as of 2026, the structure is approaching its upper floors. Crews are now working on the final stages of vertical construction, with the building expected to top out by late 2026. Full completion and occupancy are scheduled for 2027. The tower's core and steel reinforcements have reached well past the halfway mark, and curtain wall installation is progressing steadily up the facade. The Waterline is a true mixed-use development. It will house a 240-room hotel operated by one hotel on the lower levels, office space in the midsections, and 352 luxury apartments occupying the upper floors. This vertical integration of functions requires advanced engineering to isolate vibrations, manage access, and provide separate mechanical systems for residential, commercial, and hospitality tenants. At the base, the building connects directly to the city's pedestrian network and a revitalized section of Waller Creek, integrating with the broader Waterloo Greenway urban park system. This connection is part of Austin's push to combine urban density with green infrastructure. The tower also includes a multi-level amenity deck and sky lobby, engineered to handle high wind loads common at its height. From an engineering standpoint, constructing a super tall on the edge of Waller Creek posed unique challenges. Excavation and foundation work required deep piers drilled into limestone bedrock to ensure structural stability, while hydrology studies were used to manage flood risks from the nearby creek. The tower also features tuned mass dampers to minimize sway at the uppermost levels. Construction across Texas in 2026 isn't limited to highways and skyscrapers. Spreading quietly but decisively across North Texas, the Silver Line is one of the most complex transit megaprojects still actively being built this year. Officially called the Cotton Belt Corridor, this 26-mile commuter rail line is reshaping how the Dallas-Fort Worth region will move between major job centers, airports, and suburban cities once it enters service in 2027. Work on the Silver Line began in late 2019, but 2026 represents the most technically intensive phase of the project. Heavy civil construction is largely complete, and the focus has shifted to rail systems, structures, and operational readiness. Track installation is ongoing across remaining segments, while completed portions are now being prepared for testing and certification. Crews are actively installing signaling equipment, communication systems, and positive train control infrastructure required for federally regulated commuter rail operations. A major area of construction activity in 2026 involves grade separations and bridge structures. The corridor crosses numerous arterial roads, freight lines, and waterways, requiring a network of elevated spans and trenched crossings. Many of these structures are receiving final concrete pours, waterproofing, track ballast, and safety barriers this year. In flood-sensitive sections of the alignment, drainage systems and reinforced subgrades are being completed to protect the rail line from long-term water damage. Station construction continues throughout 2026, but the emphasis has shifted away from basic structures and toward functional completion. Platforms are being surfaced, canopies enclosed, elevators and stair cores finished, and pedestrian access routes tied into surrounding streets. Electrical rooms, ticketing infrastructure, and security systems are being installed concurrently, allowing stations to transition from construction sites into test-ready facilities by late 2026. The Silver Line differs from other rail projects in Texas because it uses diesel, multiple unit trains, rather than light rail vehicles. These trains are fully self-powered and compliant with Federal Railroad Administration safety standards, allowing them to operate on corridors shared with freight traffic. In 2026, multiple train sets are undergoing both static and dynamic testing. This includes low-speed trial runs, braking tests, signal synchronization, and emergency response drills along completed sections of track. Another major focus this year is the operational interface with existing transit and airport infrastructure. At DFW International Airport, construction crews are finalizing platform connections, passenger circulation routes, and safety systems to ensure the Silver Line integrates seamlessly with airport terminals and other rail services. This work is highly coordinated to avoid disruptions while maintaining strict security and operational requirements. By the end of 2026, DART expects the Silver Line to be substantially complete from a construction standpoint. Remaining work in 2027 will focus on full line testing, staff training, regulatory approvals, and phased service introduction. When completed, the project will provide a continuous east-west rail connection across one of the fastest growing regions in the country. Out in the wide open plains of Shackleford County, one of the most unusual mega projects under construction in Texas in 2026 isn't a bridge or a rail line. It's a data center, but not just any data center. This is the Frontier Campus, a hyperscale complex being developed by Vantage Data Centers. When complete, it's expected to be one of the largest and most energy-demanding digital infrastructure sites in the United States. Construction began in 2023. By 2026, the first 3 buildings of the campus are in advanced stages of completion. These structures, each hundreds of thousands of square feet in footprint, are designed to house massive volumes of high-density computing hardware. Servers, cooling systems, and high-voltage power infrastructure are currently being installed as crews work to bring the first phase online by mid-2027. Unlike urban data centers, the Frontier Campus is built for scale. The site spans hundreds of acres, with long-term plans for more than a dozen individual data halls. In 2026, roads, perimeter security, and backbone fiber systems are all under active construction. Trenching for underground fiber, conduit runs for power distribution, and large-scale concrete work for equipment pads and mechanical yards are visible across the entire site. One of the core focuses of 2026 construction is energy infrastructure. The campus will eventually require over 1 gigawatt of electrical capacity. To support that, multiple substations are being constructed in coordination with utility providers. Transformers, switchgear, and backup systems are arriving in phases throughout the year. Generator yards, each with dozens of diesel units, are being tested and integrated into the site's power management systems to ensure continuous uptime. Cooling is another critical aspect. Vantage is deploying advanced liquid and air cooling technologies, and in 2026, large-scale mechanical equipment like chillers, dry coolers, and cooling towers are being installed. Steel structures supporting rooftop cooling arrays are going up simultaneously, with piping systems and climate controls being integrated as soon as structural inspections are cleared. The Frontier Campus is also being designed with modular expansion in mind. Foundations for future buildings are being graded and utility corridors are being installed ahead of need. This approach allows construction to proceed without disrupting active operations once the first phases go live. By the end of 2026, construction will have prepared the site to scale rapidly through the 2030s. In 2026, one of the largest aviation infrastructure projects in Texas is moving forward in the state capital. The expansion of Austin Bergstrom International Airport is a multi-billion-dollar effort designed to increase capacity, improve passenger flow, and modernize the airport to match the region's explosive population and economic growth. This year marks a key transition point as foundational construction shifts into vertical build-outs across several major components of the project. The centerpiece of the expansion is the construction of a new midfield concourse, Concourse B. This terminal is being built on a separate footprint between the two existing runways. In 2026, structural steel erection is well underway for the concourse building. Crews are working on framing the multi-level terminal shell, pouring elevated decks and installing utility cores. Mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems are being embedded into the structure as it rises, and the airside ramp areas are being prepared for aircraft movement and gate servicing. Alongside the new terminal, extensive airfield work is also underway. Taxiways are being realigned and expanded to accommodate the future gate layout and allow for dual operations between Concourse A and Concourse B. Concrete paving, subgrade stabilization, and lighting system installation are active across multiple zones of the airfield throughout 2026. This work must be sequenced carefully to avoid interrupting daily airport operations, making night shifts and phased closures routine across the site. The expansion program also includes upgrades to the Barbara Jordan Terminal, which has served as the airport's primary terminal since the late 1990s. In 2026, construction crews are deep into the reconfiguration of ticketing halls, baggage claim areas, and security checkpoints. New escalators, ceiling systems, and wayfinding installations are being added to improve circulation and reduce passenger congestion. Electrical infrastructure is being upgraded in tandem to support newer equipment and higher passenger volumes. One of the largest utility undertakings in 2026 is the construction of the new central utility plant. This facility will serve both existing and future terminal buildings, providing chilled water, emergency power, and critical systems redundancy. Structural work on the utility plant began in late 2025, and by mid-2026, it is progressing into mechanical equipment installation. Underground pipework is being laid across the central terminal area to link the plant to multiple distribution points. Timeline-wise, the full airport expansion is expected to continue in phases through the early 2030s. However, Concourse B is targeted for completion by 2029. This includes all related airside infrastructure, roadways, and terminal connections. Utility and landside improvements will phase in gradually before that, with some operational enhancements, such as expanded TSA checkpoints and ticketing upgrades, coming online as early as 2027. This year, one of the largest semiconductor manufacturing sites under construction in the United States is taking shape just outside of Austin, in the city of Taylor. This is Samsung's $17 billion semiconductor facility, a cornerstone in the company's long-term US manufacturing strategy and a critical piece of America's push to secure domestic chip production capacity. Construction on the Taylor site began in 2022, and by 2026, the project has moved well beyond grading and foundation work. Structural steel for the main fabrication plant, or fab, has already been erected. Exterior cladding is being installed throughout the year, and critical cleanroom sections are beginning to be sealed off for interior system build-outs. The fab itself is designed to manufacture advanced 3nm chips, and achieving the necessary precision environment requires intricate coordination between architectural and mechanical contractors on site. In 2026, key focus areas include installation of process tool foundations, vibration isolation systems, and specialized utility corridors. Chip fabrication requires extensive support infrastructure, and Samsung's Taylor plant includes multiple auxiliary buildings now under construction, power substations, ultra-pure water treatment facilities, gas storage units, and chemical delivery systems. These are all being built in parallel to meet aggressive timelines for tool move-in beginning in 2027. Electrical infrastructure work dominates large sections of the site this year. High voltage transmission connections are being routed into the plant from nearby utility corridors, and several on-site substations are in various stages of completion. Switchgear and transformers are arriving in phases, as the facility will ultimately require hundreds of megawatts of continuous power to operate at full capacity. Water management is another major component of construction in 2026. Massive water purification and wastewater treatment systems are being installed to meet the needs of advanced semiconductor manufacturing, which demands ultra-pure water at an industrial scale. Below ground, miles of process piping and drainage networks are being tied into mechanical rooms across the site, while crews above ground are working on finalizing building envelopes and weatherproofing key equipment zones. Samsung has stated that the Taylor facility is expected to begin operations in 2027, with tool installation beginning in late 2026. To support this schedule, construction efforts remain at peak intensity throughout the year, with thousands of workers on site and around-the-clock logistics operations delivering materials and high-spec components from around the world. As of 2026, one of the most extensive highway construction efforts in Texas is underway on the north side of San Antonio. The Loop 1604 expansion is a multi-phase megaproject aimed at transforming a key regional corridor into a high-capacity, modern expressway. Spanning over 23 miles from Bandera Road to Interstate 35, this project is being built to relieve congestion, support freight movement, and accommodate decades of projected growth across Bejar County. Construction is fully active in 2026 across multiple segments. Crews are adding 2 general-purpose lanes in each direction, converting the corridor from a 4-lane to an 8-lane freeway. In addition to expanding main lanes, the project includes the construction of high-speed interchanges, widened bridges, and new overpasses. Flyover connectors at major intersections like US 281 and Interstate 10 are being raised, with steel girders and precast deck panels lifted into place throughout the year. Several interchanges are under reconstruction in 2026, including those at Bulverde Road, Nacogdoches, and Redland. These sections involve extensive demolition of existing ramps, traffic realignments, and phased construction of new bridge structures. Utility relocation continues in tandem, with gas, water, electric, and fiber infrastructure being moved to accommodate new roadway alignments. Night and weekend closures are common, as crews shift traffic and complete critical structural pours. Pavement work is progressing east to west, with new concrete and asphalt lanes being poured alongside existing traffic. In some segments, permanent drainage systems and culverts are being installed to replace temporary stormwater controls used during the early grading phases. Major earthwork and grading continues west of US 281, where lane expansions and median reconfigurations are still in earlier stages. In addition to expanded main lanes, 2026 also sees the ongoing construction of auxiliary lanes, wider shoulders, and improved entrance and exit ramps. The project includes upgraded signage, high-mast lighting, and intelligent transportation systems infrastructure, all being embedded during the current phase to support future traffic management. Pedestrian and bicycle accommodations are also being incorporated. Several new multi-use paths and sidewalk connections are under construction in segments near residential neighborhoods and commercial centers, improving local access without disrupting freeway capacity. The full Loop 1604 expansion is expected to be completed in phases through 2028, with some interchanges and lane segments opening to traffic ahead of schedule. In 2026, construction is at its most intensive stage, with dozens of active work zones, lane closures, and large-scale bridge and pavement operations occurring simultaneously. In 2026, construction continues at full speed on one of the most anticipated entertainment developments in North Texas, the Universal Kids Resort in Frisco. This marks Universal's first ever theme park designed specifically for younger children, and it's a central feature in a broader 97-acre entertainment district now taking shape just northeast of the Dallas North Tollway and Panther Creek Parkway. Construction on the project began in 2023. 3 years later, in 2026, vertical construction is visible across the entire site. Structural framing for the resort's themed lands, indoor attractions, and support buildings is well underway. Exterior facades are being installed. Ride systems are in the process of being delivered and assembled, and utility infrastructure is nearing completion. The project remains on track for a grand opening targeted in 2027. The resort will include a mix of outdoor and indoor attractions specifically tailored for children aged 3 to 11. In 2026, work is focused on themed environments, which are being built out with immersive architecture, custom rockwork, and landscaping designed to create visually distinct zones. These themed areas are supported by steel-framed show buildings and large covered structures to protect from Texas heat, all of which are being finished in phases throughout the year. Simultaneously, the on-site hotel is progressing through interior build-out, mechanical systems, vertical transportation, and finishing work on guest rooms are all underway. Adjacent to the hotel, crews are completing pedestrian circulation routes, guest drop-off areas, and internal roads that will support resort operations and service access. Parking structures and surface lots are being paved and striped in stages to accommodate future traffic loads. One of the critical engineering components in 2026 involves stormwater management and site drainage. Retention basins, underground piping, and filtration systems are being finalized to comply with regional flood control standards. Electrical and data systems, including distributed power for attractions and fiber for internal operations, are also being embedded during this phase of construction. This development is part of a broader mixed-use district that includes dining, retail, and entertainment amenities beyond the theme park itself. Several of these auxiliary parcels are being prepared in parallel with grading, utility extensions, and foundation work underway. Vertical construction on some of the commercial components is expected to begin before the end of 2026. On the southern edge of San Antonio, not far from Toyota's existing truck assembly lines, a new facility is being built that will play a critical role in the company's US supply chain. This is the Toyota Axle Plant, an advanced manufacturing site dedicated to producing key drivetrain components for full-size trucks and SUVs. In 2026, the project remains deep in its construction phase, with core systems and production infrastructure actively being installed across the plant. The main production building, which broke ground in 2023, has already been enclosed. This year, interior fit-out is the primary focus. Crews are working across all zones of the building to install machining stations, robotic arms, and conveyor networks designed to handle high-precision assembly of axles and drive shafts. Electrical service panels and power drops are being connected to the heaviest equipment, while cooling, air handling, and compressed air systems are being tested and commissioned. This facility is engineered for both volume and precision. Axles must meet exacting tolerances, and to support that, the construction team in 2026 is finalizing vibration isolation pads under major tooling areas. Laser alignment tracks, automated measurement cells, and parts handling systems are being integrated into the factory floor, forming a seamless production loop that ties machining directly into inspection and packaging. Outside the main plant, utility and access infrastructure is being completed in stages. A dedicated substation is being built to supply the plant's high energy demands, and backup generators are being tied into the emergency power system. Extensive underground conduit and piping work continues in 2026, linking electrical, pneumatic, and water systems between the primary production zones and auxiliary buildings. Support facilities, such as workforce training centers, quality assurance labs, and logistics offices, are also under construction this year. These structures are located around the perimeter of the main plant and are being built using tilt wall methods to accelerate delivery. Interior build-outs for these support buildings are scheduled to be completed by late 2026. From a logistical standpoint, the new axle plant is positioned for direct integration with Toyota's San Antonio assembly lines. Dedicated truck routes, loading docks, and staging areas are being prepared this year to enable just-in-time delivery of components once the plant enters operation. Grading, paving, and access road construction are all active across the site. Traffic volumes on Interstate 35 through San Antonio have long exceeded the corridor's original design. In response, the Interstate 35 Northeast expansion, known as Interstate 35 NX, is one of the most extensive active highway infrastructure projects in Texas as of 2026. This multi-billion-dollar expansion focuses on a 20-mile stretch of Interstate 35 between Interstate 410 North and FM 3009, one of the state's most congested urban corridors. The Interstate 35 Next project is being delivered in multiple phases. In 2026, construction activity is centered on the first two segments, Next Central and Next South. These phases include the construction of elevated managed lanes, reconstruction of existing main lanes, and major interchange reconfiguration. Twin elevated structures, one in each direction, are now rising in the median of the existing highway. These elevated lanes are designed to carry high occupancy vehicles and toll-paying drivers, easing congestion on the general purpose lanes below. Crews in 2026 are actively erecting precast concrete beams and columns across several active work zones. Piers are being drilled and poured near high traffic interchanges like Loop 1604, O'Connor Road, and Widener. At each location, crews are staging structural elements, building false work, and coordinating closely with traffic control teams to limit lane closures and maintain throughput during construction. At the same time, utility relocation and drainage upgrades are progressing along the entire corridor. Stormwater management improvements, including larger culverts and upgraded detention systems, are being installed to accommodate the wider roadway footprint and protect against flood risk. Fiber optic conduit, high voltage electrical lines, and water infrastructure are also being shifted and upgraded to align with the new highway layout. Several bridges are being demolished and rebuilt in 2026. Overpasses at intersections like Volsum and Eisenhower are being reconstructed with higher vertical clearances and wider cross sections. These bridge replacements are sequenced carefully to maintain traffic flow, using temporary detours and phased construction to avoid full closures. Sound wall installation is underway along residential sections of the corridor. These are being built from pre-formed concrete panels, supported by steel columns, and designed to meet both noise abatement and aesthetic standards set by local municipalities. Additional right-of-way acquisitions and site clearing are taking place at the northern end of the project, where future phases will extend beyond FM 3009. Across one of the busiest airport hubs in the world, construction on a major terminal expansion continues through 2026. At Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, the long-awaited Terminal F project is progressing as one of Texas's most complex and high-profile aviation megaprojects. When complete, Terminal F will add 15 new gates and accommodate tens of millions of additional passengers annually, forming a key part of the airport's long-term growth strategy. Construction officially resumed in 2023 after delays during the pandemic period. As of 2026, the project is in a fully active phase. Foundation work was completed earlier, and vertical construction is now well underway. Structural steel framing is rising across the terminal site, with crews working on roof trusses, floor slabs, and concrete shear walls that form the building's structural core. Portions of the terminal footprint have already reached full height, and work is shifting toward exterior facade installation and internal systems rough-in. Terminal F is being built with an emphasis on modularity and energy efficiency. In 2026, contractors are installing advanced mechanical systems, including variable refrigerant flow (HVAC) units, underfloor air distribution, and sensor-controlled lighting systems. Electrical rooms and backup power infrastructure are being outfitted simultaneously to support future operations and redundancy requirements. Rainwater harvesting systems and high-efficiency insulation are also being incorporated as part of the airport's broader environmental design commitments. Airside infrastructure is another major area of construction in 2026. New taxiways, service roads, and aircraft parking aprons are being paved to connect Terminal F to the existing airfield layout. Jet bridge footings, apron lighting towers, and aircraft fueling systems are in progress. These components are sequenced to be completed well ahead of passenger service in order to support test operations and aircraft docking trials starting in 2027. Inside the terminal, interior build-out has started in the lower level spaces. This includes installation of vertical circulation elements like escalators and elevators, as well as early stage framing for retail units, gate hold rooms, and baggage claim systems. Mechanical chases and conduit runs are being embedded above ceilings and below raised flooring in preparation for final fit-out. Terminal F is designed to interface directly with DFW's Skylink train system. In 2026, structural connections for the automated people mover are being built to integrate with the new terminal concourse. These linkages will allow passengers to move seamlessly between all terminals once the new facility is operational. Construction is scheduled to continue through 2027, with phased commissioning expected to begin in early 2028. Final systems integration, testing, and regulatory inspections will follow before full passenger service is launched. By the end of 2026, most major structural and airside components will be complete or nearing completion. Terminal F represents a generational investment in aviation infrastructure at DFW, aligning with forecasts that project continued passenger and cargo growth across the North Texas region. As of 2026, it is one of the largest airport construction sites in the United States.